welcome back to Spittin Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I'm coming at you from the 205 today, right inside the Paul W. Bryant Museum. As you can see, I'm joined by David Mize once again today. Here, he is the curator here at the museum. What's been going on this week for game week?
Well, it's been crazy this week. We've had a couple of things go down in the exhibit hall, which is usually par for the course for, as you know, when you were here for game week. Everything will work fine during the summer, and then you get ready for the a big game here, and
3:30 on the Friday.
Yeah, everything wants to break. So, but I told everybody last time we were going to work on our quality of video. Since we had so much problems last time, so maybe this one will look a little bit better.
Yeah, I think this one should just look a little bit better today. Yeah. But no, so last week you did go 5-3. I went 4-4. We did go against the spread last week, but I don't really like that. We're gonna pick more straight up. We're gonna pick straight up from now on, because a lot of these games they're close anyway. The games you want to pick, they're not going to be a huge margin or a huge spread anyway. So we'll just do those straight up. But no, your total record now is 13-10. I'm 14-9. So you're only one game back now.
We're close.
You gained two spots on me there.
My LSU pick was. Did you pick LSU?
I picked LSU, but I picked Auburn to win. But I picked LSU against the spread. I won that one as well.
I got you.
But you got me on the Washington game. That's where you got me.
Yeah.
Washington, Utah. But no, today, so we are picking 10 games today.
Okay.
There was a lot of games. There was more I was thinking about adding, but I just skipped over them and went with some more. And we'll just go right into it. So the first game is actually tonight, Friday. We got Florida Atlantic, Lane Kiffin. They're playing at number 16 UCF, 6 o'clock on ESPN. What do you look for?
I don't know. UCF is going to be, they're a good team.
Yeah.
Quarterback. I hate to say anything too good about them because they're trying to they're trying to share our national championship.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think it'll be much of a game at all, really.
No, UCF's too good. Their head coach, he coached Drew Lock from Missouri last year, and you saw how well he threw the ball.
Yeah.
And he's probably got as good a quarterback, if not better. Yeah. And McKenzie, they're at UCF. I think UCF they probably win by 17. Lane Kiffin, FAU. UCF is a program. They're on the up and up now. It wouldn't surprise me to see them jump conferences at some point, but UCF wins that one for me too.
Well, I hesitated because for some odd reason it's been one of those weeks. I had in my mind that they had already played and it had been a huge blowout. So when you asked me that, I had to come back to reality. I guess I've already drank. Sometimes when you're such a good prognosticator and you can see so well into the future that you get the future and the present confused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But no, now we're in the Saturday, the normal slate of games here. Got number 2 Georgia headed to Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, to take on the Missouri Tigers, of course. 11 o'clock ESPN. What do you look for there?
Georgia dominance. Georgia is probably, I know Alabama fans will hate to hear this, but because of the way Alabama's winning right now, I'm not sure Georgia's getting the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's a very good team, and I just still see us maybe playing twice.
They did jump last week. They jumped number 2.
Yeah.
Missouri, they do have one heck of a quarterback, I will say. I like Drew Lock a lot.
Right.
But just overall, Georgia's going to be way too much for them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like I'd probably say it's a closer game than the South Carolina game, but still they're going to win pretty easily.
It's funny, too, that they jumped and Clemson kind of got, moved back one a week after the whole A&M game. You would have thought that would have happened, the week prior. So
because of how close it was.
Yeah.
A&M really showed you can beat that defense if you have that quarterback.
Yeah.
Because Clemson's got the defense much like Alabama has had that gets beat by a quarterback like Lamar.
Yeah.
But we'll move on to the next one. Number 8 Notre Dame heads to Wake Forest, 11 a.m. on ABC. Notre Dame's really been struggling the last 2 weeks with Vandy. Ball State's even worse than struggling with Vandy. Wake Forest, not a bad team. They won 8 games last year, and they look pretty decent this year as well.
And it is at Wake Forest?
At Wake Forest in Winston-Salem.
What's the line on that, as I said?
I think it was 3 to Notre Dame, 6 to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was gonna go with a pick 'em. I'll go with Wake Forest on this though.
I think the same thing. Vandy should have beat Notre Dame last week. To be honest, Vandy should have won. I don't know if that's because I think Vandy's better than what they were last year, but still, you're Notre Dame. You're sitting at number 8. I mean, that really makes that Michigan losing to them look really bad at this point.
Right.
And I think that loss looks even worse because Wake Forest finds a way to win. Good quarterback play. They just, I mean, I remember when Wake Forest went to the Orange Bowl.
Right.
What was that, 12 years ago?
Yeah. What was their quarterback at that time?
I forget what his name was.
Yeah, but he was pretty good.
He was, and then they had the linebacker that was drafted in the top 5 of the draft. But yeah, I think Wake Forest gets it done on their home turf against a struggling Notre Dame team right now.
Right.
I'll save that one for last. We'll go on to number 7 TCU. They're headed to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns. 3:30 on Fox.
It's going to be a good game, but I really think
TCU's only 3 points, 3-point favorite in that one.
But I don't know. I would have figured TCU might be a little bit more than that. I'd say TCU by about 10 points.
Yeah, Texas. I think they really exposed USC last week. Stanford exposed USC. I think Texas exposed USC. Texas is still on the long road. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. And TCU, year in and year out, they put a quality defense on the field. I mean, obviously Ohio State scored 40 points, but they have a quarterback that's nobody's talking about because of the Tua hype. But Ohio State's quarterback is crazy right now. But yeah, TCU, year in year out, they're always good. I'm going TCU by I'd say 10, 13 points. I think that's a good margin there. We're getting into another SEC game here. A lot of smack talk's been going on between these two teams this week. You got number 14 Mississippi State headed to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. 6 o'clock on ESPN2.
I think Kentucky might be that Florida win might have gotten to their head.
Florida's not as good as people thought they may be.
I think if Kentucky's not careful, Mississippi State could beat them
really
handed.
Bad. State, they've got a running game. They also have a quarterback that can join in on that running game. Fitzgerald, he can throw the ball when he needs to. I mean, that first game back against Kansas State, he ran for more yards than he threw.
Right.
I just think Kentucky, they're a good team. I think they're an 8-win team this year. I'll give them that.
Right.
But Mississippi State's too good. Mississippi State's a 10-win team this year. They're really good on the offensive side of the ball.
I think so too.
I could see. I'm not going to say they're going to blow them out, but I could see them putting on a few points at the end of the game, making it a 14, 17-point game, making it look worse than it actually is. Because I think Kentucky's a good football team, but Mississippi State's just that much better with who they have to play. So you said State, I said State. Okay. So then next, got Texas Tech headed to Stillwater to take on number 15 Oklahoma State. 6 o'clock, Fox Sports 1.
I think Oklahoma's quarterback's just too good.
Oklahoma State, they look really good. I know it was Boise State, but Boise State's a quality program. This is just, Texas Tech, that defense, what Ole Miss did to them that first week. Oklahoma State I think they'll both score a bunch of points, but Oklahoma State just wins the marathon of scoring in that game for me as well. I'll take Oklahoma State. The next one, Michigan State, this is their first game since the loss to Arizona State, but number 24 Michigan State, they head to 3-0 Indiana and Bloomington, 6:30 on the Big Ten Network. Michigan State looked really bad against Arizona State. I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, I go with Indiana.
Home field advantage.
Home field, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, Michigan State, they were having one of their normal games. Where it's a boring game, but Michigan State, they pull it out, but they didn't pull it out.
Right.
That one's hard for me to pick, but I'll go with you. I'll go Indiana to put Michigan State on a 2-loss train. Indiana, I mean, they've never been a football program, but 3-0, good start to the year. A struggling team they're playing. I'll go Indiana as well. Next one, game number 8 I have on here. Number 7 Stanford at number 20 Oregon. 7 o'clock on ABC.
Stanford.
Stanford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think their quarterback is better than expected, and then of course you got Bryce Love in the backfield, and Oregon not as impressive as you think they might be. Of course, Cristobal's their coach now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just they also have a good quarterback, but Stanford in the overhaul of the game, over the course of the game, Stanford's just going to be too much for the Ducks.
I just think that Oregon run that they had for so many years,
Chip Kelly, and
it's just come to an end, and they're back being the Oregon.
I mean, they've been a respectable program overall. I mean,
they've had
Joey Harrington in the early
Nike
2000s, and yes, they
get.
That's a recruiting ploy for them. They
got
can
that
get
kind
players.
of money, you can be, but
I mean, they're not a terrible program, but they were over excelling.
Right.
They're in the Chip Kelly era. He only lost 4 games while he was there.
I mean, I'm old school, so back in the day, you mentioned Oregon, might as well mention Cincinnati or somebody like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't even think about
right,
it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I'm with you there. Stanford gets it done in the end of the game. Game number 9 here. Wisconsin, that huge letdown last week. Number 18, Wisconsin. They had two Iowa, 3-0 Iowa. We saw what Iowa did on their home field to Ohio State last year. That's never an easy place to play. Never a place you want to play. But Wisconsin at Iowa, 7:30 on Fox.
It's not an easy place to play, but I think Wisconsin's going to want to show that maybe
they're not playing around anymore.
Last week was a fluke, and I think they'll come out and kind of prove that they are still a good football team.
I mean, I picked them to win the Big Ten this year. I mean, they haven't lost a conference game yet,
right.
That's still running. And BYU, who knows, they might end up being a team way better than people thought. Man, that one's hard for me. I'll agree with you. I think they get the ball back in Taylor's hands. I know he had 118 yards last week, and they said that was a letdown, him having 118 yards. I think they let him run wild on the Hawkeyes, and I'm not saying they blow them out, but I'm saying they find a way to win the game, unlike they did last week. And then, of course, the big one, since we are right here in Tuscaloosa, I saved it for last. You got number 22 Texas A&M, right here in Tuscaloosa, playing number 1 Alabama, 2:30 on CBS.
Last week I would have told you before we played Ole Miss.
Would have been a close game.
It would have been a close game. I still am a little worried about Texas A&M. I mean, they played Florida State. They played Clemson, a great game. 2 weeks ago.
You could argue that one missed call.
Yeah, I mean, basically they
gave away the
won
ball.
the game,
upset.
But our offense is just
Alabama's offense is just ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
Well,
so, even with the defense being a little young, the secondary being a little young, we're scoring so many points and we're scoring at will. It's just it gives the defense a chance to kind of not have so much pressure on them
because
now.
the offense scores so fast and then they're back on the field.
Yeah.
Kellen Mond, I think he'll give Alabama a little bit more trouble than Tamu did last week. But 27 is crazy for that game. I'm not even looking at the line. The last time I saw it was 27 to Alabama. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of old school. I'll sometimes put aside the actual records or the players and just look at what both programs have done and when they played each other. And frankly, A&M has played us very well here, and so that's a little bit more than what I would think would happen. But hey, if it does, then I'll just be even more impressed.
27 is way too much for me, but Alabama now has that quarterback that beats them. They now have that guy that makes those plays.
Yeah.
Just throw the ball up and your receivers catch it.
Yeah.
They now have the guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I am definitely with you on that one. I'd closer than 27, but I say more than 10. Definitely more than 10.
Yeah.
Just that offense it's just too crazy.
It really
Mond will put some points on the board for A&M, but I'd say Alabama by 14. I mean, I'm talking probably 34-20, but it would be funny. It would be odd to see A&M make 20. But it would be crazy to see Alabama not score 50 because they scored 62 last week.
I tell you, my fear is now is the frustration level, and I don't mean this ugly, but the frustration level with the way we're playing on offense, that somebody might, try to take a cheap shot with a Tua or something, because this offense is this way. I mean, we got some great receivers, don't get me wrong, but this offense is this way because of our quarterback.
The quarterback
I
makes
mean,
everything.
it's just incredible what he's doing. I was listening to Trent Dilfer.
He hasn't missed a third down throw all season.
Trent Dilfer was just, he was just
greatest quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, and basically said, I tried to tell y'all guys this when he, a couple.
Well, I remember watching that one, the Elite 11 special that they did, and he basically looked at Tua and he said, "You're going to finish last in this competition at the start." And then at the end of it, he was like, "You're the best pure passer I've ever seen in my life." It's like, I was wrong.
Yeah.
He was like, "I was totally wrong.
Yeah.
You won this by a mile."
Yeah. And it's just, I'm hoping that, I'm torn. We want to get Jalen in, but I'd like to see Tua play a whole half.
Yeah, I haven't seen that this year.
Because I'm a little afraid that
he played the deepest in the Arkansas State game. They put him back in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid that when we come down to the Heisman race and stuff, and I know a lot of people don't care about that, but it would be nice to see Alabama have a quarterback.
Well, that's what everybody talks about is Alabama even going to have a game where he can have his Heisman moment?
Yeah.
Because those all happen in big, close games.
Right. But I mean, it's just incredible, and but at the same time though, we're all Alabama fans, and we remember back in the Shula era when Shula kept Brody in too long against Western Carolina.
I was at that game, Western Carolina, 52-0, and he tears his ACL, and there goes the whole season.
Yeah.
And you had one of the best quarterbacks we probably ever could have had.
So you don't want that happening either. So it's
it's a rocky road once the game gets to a certain point. But Shula, he had a history of that. Let me remind you, pro throw. When the game was over.
Yeah.
That was another year Bama probably. He just took it to another team, to another level.
Yeah.
But that is it for the picks. We both taking Bama over the Aggies tomorrow. But yeah, we're right here at the Paul W. Bryant Museum. It's good to be back here with you.
Glad to have you back, and
I'm glad we could do this.
That's watching this and maybe coming to the game, make sure to come by and see us tomorrow. We'll be open from 8 to 4.
8 to 4.
There.
And hey, you never know who you're going to see at the Paul W. Bryant Museum.
You don't.
I mean, I've met Sean Alexander and
we'll have Rich
Andrew
Wingo.
Zhao, for anybody who knows who that is.
We'll have Rich Wingo and and Barry Krause from the '78 National Championship team.
Those are the guest signers.
That'll be from 10 to 11, and actually it's a private reception tonight, but they're having the '78 reunion here tonight for those guys. So there'll be a lot of those guys in town this weekend. So so keep your eyes open.
Well, it's open. SEC home opener, so a lot of things going on down here. Be a lot of people in town. But no, hey, just go ahead and let us know what you're thinking for the games this weekend. Go ahead and leave your picks so we can compare and see who knows more, I guess.
Well,
or who's luckier.
Right.
Who's luckier is
some of these I struggle
it.
on because I'm old, and those West Coast teams, I'm already asleep by the time they're playing.
By the 7:30 game, you're done.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless Bama's playing.
That's right, exactly.
No, this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar. This is David Mize. Go ahead and leave a like, share, comment, like I said. Subscribe to the channel. But I look forward to seeing you guys next week when we review what happened this weekend in college football. You all have a good one.
Hold tight, everybody.